Good morning, everyone. Thank you for joining us. I'll wait just one more minute. We've got a few people still logging in. All right, thank you for joining us, everyone. We'll go ahead and get started. Today on our LogoJET How-To series, we're going to discuss how to print UV acrylic photo blocks. So before we begin, a few housekeeping items. Everyone's microphone and web camera and the chat are disabled. During the demonstration, we love questions. Obviously, this demo is for you. If you have any questions, on the top of your window, you'll see a little question mark icon. You can post any questions there. We'll certainly try to discuss them during the webinar. If for some reason we cannot get to it, we'll reach out to you post-webinar and provide any answers for you. A link to the recorded demonstration will be sent to all attendees afterwards as well. One more housekeeping option. During the demonstration, there'll be many screens you can view in different cameras. At any given time, you can place your mouse cursor in between windows and you can click and hold and drag, and you can make a window larger or smaller, where if you need to make the software larger, for example, or a camera larger, you can easily do that. All right, next off, just to introduce the team here, my name is Josh McNaughton. I'm the VP of Technical Solutions. I'll be the moderator and help answer any questions that you guys post. For the demonstration, we have Mylan Hayes. Here, he's an application specialist here at LogoJET, and he'll perform the live demonstration for you. So without further ado, I'll hand it over to Mylan.
All right. Yep. So as Mr. Josh was just saying, I am Mylan, and today we are going to be printing acrylic photo blocks. So this is an example of how we're going to be printing today. We're going to be printing on these acrylic blocks. As you can see, there's a few different ways you can do it. You can print it where there's the image, then the white on the back. And then I have another one that I'm going to do where there's going to be one image, and then you can print with a different image on the back. This is the acrylic block also. So from here, now I will start off by printing the template onto our sticky mat. Okay, so as far as the template, you can see we have the template set up, and all the template is going to be in the print properties is just going to be a layer of white, and that's going to ensure that we have a correct print setup. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to switch it to the printer view so that you can see it as it's printing. Right. So from here, what I'm going to do, I'm going to auto height to make sure that it is at the highest level on the bed. Turn off auto height, and I'm going to Control P to send that to print.
So while Mylan is sending this to print, I did want to mention, obviously, we may have many on the webinar that have other RIP software and devices. This process we're going through would be very similar with any RIP or any UV printer for that matter. But today we're printing on the UVX 45i. As you can see, it's a 18 by 24 bed UV printer, and the RIP we're using today is a Cathari Print Pro.
Right. And as that is finishing up printing, I will come into the camera with the acrylic block. As you can see, I have the edges taped off. So what having the edges of the block taped off does, it's going to help to prevent any overspray if you're doing a full bleed image. And then it also will help with the auto height, because the auto height will not detect the clear acrylic block itself. But with the tape on the side, it will have something that it can set to that it will pick up. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to place my block inside of the square. And once again, I'm going to press auto height. All right, and once that's auto heighted, I'm going to grab our promoter, our AP promoter, and I'm just going to give it a quick wipe on the top.
So Mylan, that's always a common question as far as acrylics and promoters. What's the benefit of a customer using that promoter on the acrylic?
It helps the ink adhere to the surface better.
So while he's wiping that as well, you guys can see on the printers. So this LogoJET printers, they do have a vacuum bed. Oftentimes for this example, we're printing a single piece of acrylic. We'll use a reusable sticky mat, and that's the mat you see. It's got LogoJET icons on there. But this mat would easily let us print templates on the bed. It can be cleaned off. You can reuse it over and over, but it just helps keep that that object positioned and secure on the bed.
Okay, and what we're going to do here first is we're going to print our first image. So for this one, I'm going to print one image on the bottom, and then I'm going to print another image on the top. So as far as the file setup for this, we have our image and in the properties, how I'm going to print this one. So this is going to have a white backing. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to print color first, and then I'm going to do white on the back of that. And then since I am reverse printing this image, I want to make sure that I have the mirror image selected. So now I'm going to go Control P, and I'm going to send that. And while that's printing, I'll show you how to set up the file using a design software, Illustrator. So I'm going to go to Illustrator, and there's two different ways that you can go about setting this up. So you could either have two artboards in your design software, and you can assign each artboard to either image, or you can go about it this way, where you have two separate layers. And what you would do, if you aren't very familiar with design softwares, you can delete one of the layers and then export just this one. And then after you save that one, you can go in, Control Z, bring back the other one, and then delete this layer and save that one as a separate file. So this way you have two separate files that will bring up instead of just one. And then also I will show you, once you do have your file saved, how you can bring those into Cathari. So we're going to go up here to your file open. You're going to go open. And then as you can see with the separate files you have, you can either have them saved into separate files or you can have them saved into one. Once you have your file saved in, what it's going to do is going to bring it up like this. And for an image such as this one, what you can do, we have this thing called a white underbase choke. And what that's going to do is it's going to go around the edges to prevent any white from showing when you're printing. Same with this one, but since this is a full bleed image, you won't need any white underbase choke.
While this is printing, we do have a good question that comes up often from Bradley. What about static? So that's a great question. So oftentimes there is static when printing an acrylic, and a majority of it, oftentimes these acrylic, they may have a paper or plastic backing. So obviously, as soon as you or the backing are facing, but as soon as you remove that, obviously that can induce a lot of static. That promoter, as you're wiping it, will also help remove that static. If you're not using promoter, certainly wiping it down with alcohol will help. In extreme environments, we also have static wands. that may be necessary. Again, it's more depending on your environment. Obviously, if it's a very low humidity environment, you're going to have more static where you may have to mitigate it more. But typically, using that promoter and cleaning it well as soon as you remove that liner, it'll help remove most of the static.
And as you were saying, we do have two static tools. So here we have a static brush, which you would just go across your product doing this, giving it a few swipes. And then we also have a static wand, which the same way you would just come and brush across the product just like that. And also, since the print is done, what I'm going to do is move the print bed out a little bit. I'm going to grab my product. And this is that one side. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to lay it down on the opposite side, place it back into the square, grab my promoter again, and same as last time, just give it a quick wipe. And I have my other file set up, so I'm going to send that one to print. And since this one is going on the top, we're going to be doing white and then color. And I can show you how that file is set up. So as you can see, this one is going to be white and then color, since I'm printing this one on the top instead of reversing it on the bottom. And while that one is printing, I have a few examples that I would like to show you of some other kind of ways that you can print. So here's one of the ways you can print. This is another print that we do have. This one has a white backing. So this one is just color and then white printed on the back. So there's nothing actually printed on the front. There's an award that you can print out. Just a sign. Here's another one that was cut out on a unique shape. And then this one, so you can't actually feel any print on either side, because what this is, it's two pieces of acrylic that were both printed on the back and then glued together.
But we've got a few questions regarding the photo blocks. I'll share a screen at the end of the presentation with the supplier, and I've actually got a discount code for everyone that's joined. But these are supplied from PRG, and they're a manufacturer. They'll pre-cut these acrylic blocks, and they have various sizes. And obviously, that's how many people purchase these pre-cut. It does take a pretty hefty laser to be able to cut acrylic this thick. But there are many suppliers for these acrylic blocks on the internet available currently, but we'll share that at the end of the presentation for you.
All right. And now, as you can see, the print is done printing. So I'll lift that up for you. And as you can see, so the border is printed on the front, but then the image is on the back with a white backing.
So I'll share my screen for just a moment. So this example that is holding up, this was a 5x7 acrylic block. We printed this at 720 by 1800 bidirectional. And this was, as he displayed there, this was two prints. So the rear print had a layer of color and then white, and then the front was also a layer of white with color on top. It was roughly 2 minutes for each print, and as you guys saw. The rear print was a little bit more expensive. Obviously, it was higher coverage. So it's roughly 50 cents for the rear, 14 for the front. So to give you an idea of a ROI based off this size, we have about 70 cents of ink. This product for the blank pre-cut 5x7 is $12. So you've got roughly $12.70 in the print. Typically, a retail price for these printed is around $39. So obviously that's a profit of just over $26 each. So if you were selling these as an order of 10, if you had a 10-piece minimum, obviously that would be a very profitable item at just over $260 in profit. So these are definitely great items, especially around Christmas for gifts, where obviously, within 2 to 4 minutes, depending on if you're just doing the back or the two-face print like he produced here, it's a very, very quick, profitable item.
Now that he's done with that, what I'm going to do is I'm going to set up the next print that we have. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to re-auto height. Now I'm going to go back into the software and I'm going to pull up my next template. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to send that one to print. So for this next one, I'm going to print an image on the back, but you're going to see the image on both sides. So while it's printing the template, I can show you how that file is set up. So you're going to go to your print properties, once again, your layer selection. And what I'm going to be doing is color, white, and color. So that way you're going to have an image that you can see from the front. You're going to have your white in the middle, and then you're going to have the image that you can see on the back. And then while that's finishing up, I'll come and show you the block that I will be printing on. And also too, if you don't have any masking tape on you or anything to cover, as you can see, I left a area here. So if there is any overspray, you can just use a little bit of alcohol. You can wipe that off and it'll come right off of it. Right, so now that that is done printing, I'm going to move the bed out once again. I'm going to place my block into the square. I'm going to re-auto height once again. And give it a wipe with our promoter. And then I'm going to Control P and send that one to print. And while that was printing, I can show you a cool feature that we have in our print queue. So in the print queue, as you can see for the previous prints, it has all of those listed down here. And as you can see, it shows the time that it took to do each print. But if you click this plus right here, if you scroll down towards the bottom, it'll show you how much ink it cost it to print that entire print. So as you can see, it took a total of 2 minutes and 15 seconds to print the top part of the first acrylic block, and it had an ink cost of 14 seconds. But also too, if you accidentally close these out and delete everything out of your print queue, you can still go up here to your print history, which is in the home tab. And when you click that, it'll have all that same information. So I'll show you again. You can double click into this one. As you can see right here, it shows your ink costs. And then at the top right here, it'll show your print time. So as you can see, once again, the 2 minutes and 15 seconds and the 14 cents.
A few other questions while this is printing. One posted, is there a minimum thickness to this printer. There is not a minimum thickness. The maximum thickness is actually 5 inches on this printer. So you can fit virtually any type of acrylics like we're doing within this printer and print to it.
And while that one is still printing, I'll kind of show you right here on this screen right here. So what you can do, you have a few different options once you bring your image in. If you bring in an image as the actual size and you would like to resize it, over here to the right in the rip print options, you can change it to the size of the print bed itself by doing where it'll fill, or you can even go as far as pressing custom size. And from here, you can change it. You can make it keep their proportions right here. So if I were to change this to, let's say, 10 inches, it would make it proportional to that. Or if I did want to stretch the image, I could uncheck the lock. And from there, I can kind of fix it to however I would like it to fix. For those of you who don't use a design software and you just download an image off of some websites such as Etsy or anything like that, if you don't have the capabilities to be able to resize it before, once you bring the image into Print Pro itself, you have that option to be able to resize it there. And it looks like the print just finished, so I will show that one. And as you can see, we have the print here that you can see, and then nothing's actually printed on the top once again, but you can also see that print. So this is just color, white, and color.
So on this particular print, this one was a 4x6. This was the same resolution as previously, 720 by 1800. So again, this was a layer of color, white, and then a third layer of color. So the only thing difference, as you can see, as he's flipping that around, is that second color layer, he inversed it just where everything would match up if you're seeing it both sides. The print time was roughly 3 minutes, just over 3 minutes for all of it, with about a 31 cents ink cost. So as far as the ROI on this, it's similar to the other. This product, this particular size of 4x6 is around $11 at 31 cents of ink. So you've got $11.31 for the product and the ink cost. The retail price at this size is typically around $35. So profit per piece is $23.69, and obviously if you sold these at a minimum of 10, you'd be looking at $236.90. So again, a very profitable, very quick item. So for this example, obviously we're just printing one up on the bed. So typically if you're doing production, you would print that template across the bed and you would fill the entire bed up to where you're printing multiples at once. Or if this was an item where you're printing huge quantities of, we can also custom make a tray for you. So you could have a tray for 4x6 or 5x7 just to make it very easy for the operator to load and unload, and that would replace the necessity to print that template.
Okay. So from here, next we're going to print on these acrylic circles here. So what I'm going to do once again is I'm going to print my template. All right, so as you can see, I have my 5 circles already loaded in. I'm going to re-auto height so that it gets to the top area of the sticky mat. And this is just, again, just a layer of white.
So while this is printing, Mylan, obviously we're going for speed here, but could you kind of describe that process on that reusable mat of cleaning that previously printed ink off of it?
Yes. Okay. So as you can see here, I have a sticky mat that has templates printed on it. So once you are ready to clean those off, all you would need is something such as this metal ruler, a little bit of Windex or some alcohol, and you would simply lay it down on the table, go across it, and just wipe it off like that. And it comes off very, very simple, which will make the mat very clean again so that you can go back and just keep printing your templates and rinse and repeat.
And these mats are reusable for years. As long as you keep them clean and maintain them like you mentioned, they'll again last you for years.
Okay. And now that the template is done, I'm going to line those up. Okay. I'm going to give those a wipe again with our promoter. And since I don't have these taped off on the side, what I'm going to do is I'm going to take some masking tape. I'm just going to tear a piece off of it. And I'm going to put it on the side of my first piece of acrylic. So that way, the auto height sensor will have something that it will pick up. Once I have it hided, I'm just going to take off the tape. Then I'm all good to send it to print. So for this one, we have a few different parts that we're going to be printing. So first off, I'm going to start with the back logo, which just consists of color and then a layer of white. I'm going to Control P and send that one. So for something such as this too, if you have multiple parts that's going to be printed on one side, you can send all of those at once. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go to the next part, which is going to be this black circle that we're going to print. So as you can see, this one is just a layer of color. And what we did to get this black circle with the test CMYK file that you will have installed on the printer, you can go into that image and you can just crop out a square like this, and that'll turn it into its own layer. And from there, you would select that layer, size it like you would like, and you can send that one to print. So what I will do is send that one to print also. And then I have one more layer that I will be printing on the back. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go to that one. And this one just consists of white color and then a little bit of clear on the top. So while we have that clear here, I can show you this. So in the media tab, if you don't want to put down a full 100% layer of clear, if you go to your media, your clear, you can change the percent of clear that we will be putting out. So as you can see, we're only putting 30% clear. I'm just going to go okay, okay. And I'm going to send that one also. And you don't always have to put the clear on there. We use the clear as an extra layer of durability on the top. So as you can see, it finished the first print. So what it's going to do, it's going to reset the bed back to the 0 starting point, and it's going to send the next print. And while that one's sending, I'll show you how you can bring in and set up multiple images. So once you already have your image brought in, as you saw I did with the Christmas image, what you can do, you can go here to open images and right click, add multiple. And from there, you can decide how many you want to bring in. So as you can see, I have my image already sized like I would like. All of this right here is already set to how I would like it. So if you want to print different images, you can pick where the start index to be. So let's say I wanted to print that one row of 4 acrylic blocks. If I wanted to print another row of different acrylic blocks, I would just go to start index on the next row and change how many I want to print. So I could fill the rest, or I could print one.
We had another question on the layering screen. Can you pull up that
Okay.
window again and explain the layering for the clear, white, and the order?
Yes. All right, so I'll go back to that one. And also to another thing you can do, so while you're printing that layer, you aren't able to access the information on it. So what you can do is you can right click, create a new layout, and all you would have to do is just add in any image that you have. So I'll just double click that one, add it in, and then now you can go to your print setup and back to layers. And they said to just explain how we have the layer set up.
Yes. So just explain the options and how it determines the order.
Okay, yeah. So the way that that works, we have the white, color, and clear. So what it's going to do first, it's going to put down that full layer of white, and then it's going to put down a layer of of color, and then clear. And it's going to do that right on top of each other.
So you have up to 8 layers available, and as he mentioned, depending on how those check boxes are, layer 1, 2, and so on, that determines what order. So for example, if you wanted color first and white on top, you would just reverse your check marks up there, like on the previous example. But it's as simple as that, and it will print all those layers back to the printer automatically.
And I have an example kind of how that works. So as you can see, what it's going to do is it's going to put down that white first, and then it's going to come back on top of that with color. So if I have clear on top, what it would do, it would be white, color, and then it would be clear coming right on top of it. While that was finishing up, I took the tape off the edges. So as you can see, the benefits of having tape, it prevents any overspray on the edges of the piece. All right, now that that one's done, I'm going to pull my bed out again, and I'm going to flip these over so that I can print on the opposite side. So I'll show how it's coming out so far. Another trick too, if you do have pieces such as acrylic that are flat and like really sticking to the board, if you can't get it up, if you put your finger here at the corner and lift up a little bit, it'll help pop the pieces off. All right, so what I'm going to do from here is I'm just going to realign back into the holes that we have printed. I'm going to give it a wipe again with our promoter. And since all I did was flip it over to the other side, I don't need to re-auto hide it.
Now we're running a few minutes over, but we'll keep going. And everyone, we appreciate the questions. Keep them coming. If you have any, feel free to post them. We would be glad to hear from you, answer any questions we can.
Right, and what I'm going to do for this one is I'm just going to be printing white, color, and clear on this one also. So now putting that clear on both sides, it will have that layer of protection on both sides. Then I have that set up. I'm just going to Control P and send that one to print. As you can see, this is how one of the finished ones are going to come out. So you can kind of see, I'll turn to the side a little bit. You can almost kind of see it's just that printed on the front of it. The blue comes from the print that we put on the back.
So I'll go ahead and share while this is finishing up to give you an example of job costs on this one. So this was a 3-inch acrylic circle. Obviously, as you can see, we're printing 5 up. So this was a reverse print on the back and a front print. So several different layers, combinations of color and white on both sides, as well as clear, as you mentioned. So the 5 up print time, it's roughly about 16.5 minutes for both sides for these 5. The ink cost per piece is around 31 cents. Again, this is a pretty heavy saturation of ink with us printing both sides. The acrylic piece, if you were to cut this out, obviously, if you were to buy it retail, it'd be roughly $1. So many items like this, people keep their scraps and cut scraps for these type items on their laser. So let's say if you had 31 cents in ink, roughly $1.31. These for a customized Christmas ornament, typically we see these sell in the $15 range. So obviously it's very profitable at roughly $13.69 profit per item. And again, if you're selling those at a minimum order of 10, that's $136 in profit for, roughly 20, 30 minutes of print if you're printing 10 of them. So very, very profitable. And again, I love things like this where you can keep scraps, small pieces of acrylic, and you can hang on to that, die cut them out. You can make ornaments, keep safes, and a lot of different things where you can reuse that scrap material.
And as these prints finish up, I have another one I would like to show you. So here's an award, and how this is printed is the same way as one of the previous ones before. It's 2 pieces of acrylic that were put together. So as you can see, the print is actually in the middle of both of these, but it appears as if it's going on the front and the back. Then I have another similar piece. So as you can see, this one, same concept, printed in the middle, color white in color. And on the front, as we're doing with the ornaments and we did with the dog piece, they print stuff on the front of it, the words. Now that those are done, as I said earlier, if you're having trouble just grabbing it off of there, just pop up the corner. As you can see, they lift up a bit, and this is the final print.
All right, thank you, Mylon. One question a few of you asked in there, what kind of glue to use for the acrylic. There's a lot of different acrylic glues available. One very popular one is called Weldon, but there's a lot of different brands and types. Many of them, you'll put it in a syringe and an applicator, and you'll use that to apply it to both surfaces and bond them together. Again, there's lots of different ways you can do that. So we'll go ahead and wrap this up. Again, we appreciate everyone spending some time with us. I hope you found this informative. We'll send everyone here a recorded copy of the webinar. And if you have any further questions, feel free to reach us at sales@logojet.com. I did want to mention again, these acrylic blocks were printed on. They were provided by PRG, and I've put a QR code and a link to the website here. And as well, there's a coupon code you can enter for LogoJET20, and that will give you 20% off on their website orders. So I definitely recommend taking advantage of that. Get some of these blocks, produce some samples, put it in your shop, put it on your website, put it on social. I guarantee you these will sell. It's a very hot product right now. So thank you very much again for joining us, and we look forward to hearing from you. And please stay in touch, and we hope to see you guys on the next webinar. Thank you very much. Have a great day.
You all.